6 months since the start of the community quarantine, staycations are now possible. The tourism department is now allowing them in areas under GCQ for all ages, except those with underlying medical conditions. The agency will strictly monitor establishments to ensure public safety. First, negative antigen test results are required from the day of the check-in. Number two, cashless transactions are mandatory for bookings and payments to minimize contact. And third, establishments must get a certificate giving them authority to operate. The agency is also allowing the reopening of swimming pools, restaurants, and other function areas. The move is in line with the government's hope to safely reopen the industry and bring jobs back to nearly 5 million workers displaced by this pandemic. So will these initiatives help the tourism sector? Let's find out from Richie Tuaño, President of the Philippine Travel Agencies Association. Thank you so much for joining us on The Final Word, Richie. First of all, the tourism industry has been battered black and blue. Will these staycations and travel bubbles help in some way keep the tourism industry afloat?
Rico, thank you for having me again in your show. The staycation that's been introduced by the Department of Tourism would help in the long run. Not in the immediate moment, but in the long run, as staycation is being established, it will help the travel industry, the travel agents, and the tourism industry to gain that confidence back for travelers and they start booking again.
So it is a good first positive step for the tourism industry. But Richie, our Filipinos have been in lockdown for the past 6 months, ready for staycations and travel bubbles despite COVID-19 infections remaining in the thousands daily.
Not immediately, Rico, but we hope that in due time they would be able to gain that confidence of start to book again, starting with staycations. The recent DOT and Asian Institute of Management survey has revealed that one of the things that Filipino travelers would want to do once travel is allowed is to actually go to beaches, having staycations and road trips. So staycation is there. So that's one of the consideration of the Filipino travelers among the respondents that were asked for this survey.
In Bayanihan 2, billions of pesos were set aside for the tourism industry. When will your industry start feeling this assistance from the government?
It should be very soon. The tourism stakeholders, headed by the Tourism Congress of the Philippines, and in coordination with the Department of Tourism, has been sitting down with SB Corp, who has been designated to facilitate the big chunk of the amount allocated for the tourism industry. That's 6 billion pesos. So that will go through the MSMEs, tourism enterprises, and we are very close to actually releasing the guidelines that has been agreed upon by all parties concerned.
So with this help from the Bayanihan 2 law, the staycations and the travel bubbles, Richie, do you think that the 5 million tourism displaced workers will be able to get back their jobs? Slowly,
Rico, they will start getting their jobs back. Of course, everyone in the tourism industry hopes that this will be the start of actually the way to our recovery. It's not going to happen overnight. It's still a long way to go to full recovery, but at least we have something to start with, starting with this.
So what should be the government's next step, Richie, to sustain the life support for the tourism industry?
I think with the government, I think it's the encouraging the different LGUs to actually start opening up, but of course without compromising health and safety issues. That's still paramount of importance for us being in the tourism industry, that we sustain. Once we open slowly, we can sustain it all throughout until we reach the full recovery phase.
The last time we spoke, Richie, you mentioned to us that tourism stakeholders have basically come up with survival proposals, including the deferment of corporate income tax payments until April 2021. You also have tax holidays this year, and this would include corporate income tax, value-added tax, and withholding tax on salaries and professional fees. How much help would this provide for the industry, and do you think this will be implemented?
Those are part of our wish list, Rico, and those little things, those things might be little, but it helps in a very long way. You have to imagine that we've been out of business for the last 6 months, and for companies such as ours, belonging to the MSMEs, liquidity is primarily the issue. So any little savings that we can do from the tax holidays and deferment of payments of taxes and moratoriums would definitely help us in a very big way, no matter how little it would be.
All the best for the tourism sector. Richie Tuaño, President of the Philippine Travel Agencies Association.
Thank you very much, Rico.